Roll
Sugar's
call.
high.
Tammy Everett,
Here.
Carol Youngblood,
Here.
Phil Fowler's not here, Laura Moore,
Here.
Ryan Marsh,
Here.
majority of the town council present.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Now the reconciliation vouchers. I had an opportunity to look through those. Did everyone else?
I haven't been home.
I did have a couple questions, but I'm just gonna come and talk to you. Just some clarifications, not big concerns. I thought maybe Ryan, you might have something? Nope,
I didn't have time to look and they're not in here.
okay. If you have clarifications, we can always come in and check with them.
I'll need to look at them.
I'll make a motion to accept the claims packet as presented.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? And now the May claims. Anybody want a motion for that?
I'll make a motion, we accept the May claims.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Public comment. Do we have anybody signed up, Marion?
We do not.
All righty. Anybody that did not get a chance to sign up that wanted to speak about something other than we have the festival as a separate?
Actually, I do. I forgot to sign the list. Is it okay if I?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you don't need to come up there.
Yes, please.
My name's Lori Choate, you probably already know. And I just want to talk about the taco truck up the street. It's against our rules, and I was just wondering what you guys were going to do about it. We wouldn't even let Dollar General come in because their building wasn't the right specifications. So why are we letting that happen on the corner up there?
What rule is it breaking, Lori?
The UDO, if you want to talk to Eddie, he's got the exact one. Is he here? No.
I feel like we kind of did a little research on it and that maybe some people felt like it was peddling. And
Yes.
we determined that it wasn't peddling and that there was some consideration from the state going into how to deal with food trucks in general. But we have asked them to pull back from that corner, and that has not happened. So that is something that Marion's going to have to follow up on.
Yeah, because I think it makes the town look kind of trashy, to be honest with you. And it's also taking business away from the businesses that are on Main Street, and they do pay taxes. So I don't know what the tax situation is with them, but they're not paying property taxes because they're not a piece of property. So that was my main concern.
I feel like it's something we're still working on. I don't want to cause a problem for the festival. They do a lot of food truck nights themselves, and
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with once a week or even twice a week, but every night is just too much, in my opinion. So for whatever it's worth.
that's the problem. There's a lot of different opinions on it. A lot of people really enjoy having it, so we're
Well, do
trying
you
to.
remember we wouldn't even let Dollar General come in here because their building wasn't the right stature? Family Dollar, yeah. So why are we giving preference to other people?
I think it's definitely two different situations, like, because I wasn't a no vote about what the Dollar General was I think it was the Family Dollar.
Family
I feel like there were
Family
several people
Dollar,
who did have a problem with it,
Dollar
but
Tree.
it was because it didn't meet our building specifications.
Okay, well, the taco truck doesn't either, so.
Well, they're
it's
not
even a
building, Lori.
building. Right, that's my point.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like they kind of have a gray area that we're trying to figure out.
Okay,
It's not
so
that
you're
the-
working on it? Well,
And I'm not gonna tell you that we're working on it one way or the other. We're trying to figure out exactly what to do with, Nancy is a good citizen. She donates to a lot of things. And
As
we're
you know,
trying-
that doesn't give you the right to break the rules, you know?
you
A
you
lot of
can't
people-
decide if the rule is broken,
I
however,
think part
because
of the problem is we don't know, we don't have the rules established for
Okay, so
food
I could
trucks.
pull up a taco truck in my front yard and just start selling out of them? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
with a
people-
permit.
What about
People
when
sell
other
all kinds
people
of things
start
from their
doing
front
that?
yard. They sell eggs, they sell fruit and vegetables, they have yard sales. I think it's something that we did talk about, I believe maybe at the last meeting briefly or another meeting. And I think what we said is we need to look at what maybe some other communities are doing. There might be some parameters that we put on them, but we don't want to just go in and say they can't be there, to what Tammy already said. Many people in the community are just as opposed to it as you seem to be. There are other people that are very for it. And so what we have to do is find that middle ground somewhere and figure out what kind of guidances and, parameters we need to have. And I don't think anybody up here doesn't believe we should have anything,
Yeah, and I
but we're not going to
suggest.
solve it tonight.
Oh,
We know
right.
that there's an
I don't
issue.
expect that.
And I think that's something that we have to look at again, what some other communities have as guidelines, what works best for us. And I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I'd like to make a suggestion too, that if you put a price on it, at least the town would be reimbursed. And, it'd be a way to bring money into the town. I was telling you about Speedway, that it was $50 for a vendor's license. And I realize that's a bigger community, but not a whole lot bigger. There's only about 12,000 people there. And I thought they charged $50, but now they're up to $200 for it. And not during the race, but on events outside of the race. The race is a whole different
then would
story.
you suggest that we do the same thing for every vendor at the festival?
Not at the festival, because that's a 1-day event or a 3-day event. Yeah, I don't believe that should be necessary I think they do buy spots, don't they? Buy spots. They already pay to be
But then
there.
that's what I'm saying. We can't pick and choose who we apply rules to. And I hope that you would understand that we're not trying to not handle the situation. We're trying not to single anybody out or cause problems for other organizations.
I understand. But I just thought I'd bring it up because I think it looks horrible in the town. We're trying to make this town look good. So,
Thank you.
You probably noticed it's a different truck. Board of Health shut that purple one down because of we're having, I think it was water problems, how they clean their equipment and such. But that's the last I heard.
All right. All right. Anybody else? Good. Public hearing to appropriate additional funds from opioid into the LECE. Do you want to speak on that, Mr. Cardoza?
Basically, we're moving money from the opioid restricted funds into the LECE fund, operating supplies to cover costs for bulletproof vests for the police department, for our reserves. So that's the only money that we can move money around from, and talked to Financial Solutions about it about 2 weeks ago. They liked the idea, so that's really all I can speak on that.
Did we have an appropriation before for that?
For the bulletproof vests, we didn't have an appropriation for it,
Okay.
separate, I'm aware of.
Just catching up.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
Should we ask Matt about that?
He's here, he can, maybe that's not a bad idea.
Matt, will you refresh us? Have we voted on this somewhere else along the way, or is this?
No, we brought it up maybe last meeting or the meeting before that I was going to be asking for the additional appropriation because of the best that we had to buy. And just, I gave you guys a heads up that will be coming, that I'll be asking for the additional appropriation.
Gotcha. And we need to do a public hearing for it.
According to Financial Solutions' recommendations, yes.
So then we need to open the public hearing.
Yes. Without Philip here, you have to do a lot of work, Carol.
But don't you open it as the president?
Oh, I thought I had to have a motion.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
I second.
All right, let's open the public hearing. Anybody have any comments about the bulletproof vest appropriation? All right, looks like I would accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make
Close
a
it.
motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
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 All right, so do we have a motion to approve this appropriation, council?
I'll make a motion to approve the appropriation, moving of $5,900 to the LECE Operating Supplies Fund from the opioid restricted fund.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mary Ann, discuss intent to increase sewer rates for commercial properties. Do you want to handle that?
I can. Tammy and I have been speaking with VS Engineering, formerly Triad, about rates for the sewer. Basically, we are looking at raising the commercial rates so that when there possibly does have to be an increase for residential, it is a minor increase, nothing compared to what it would be if we just raised it across the board. We've got some numbers from VS on what we should be charging for different types of the businesses. I've got some things drawn out on what the different businesses would be paying. I personally, this was the first thing that I really wanted to work on. I don't feel like that a business serving hundreds of customers a day should be paying the same sewer rate that a family is, because a family is not using as much water. So this is basically, I've been working on this since I was promoted.
So I'm asking the council to read over the numbers provided by BS and reach out to Mary Ann or I, either one, to get any questions answered, and we're going to do a public hearing next month.
Can I also add that VS, when we had our meeting, Tammy, I don't know if you remember, he mentioned that if we were raising the rates for commercial properties, that maybe we should look at the availability rate also.
So it's something else that each of us needs to be prepared for next month.
Yes, and I will run the ads as needed.
All right. Yes, definitely run the ads for the public
Yes,
hearing.
yes. And I also have a letter in here that I made up to send to just the businesses, not the residential, since it's not going to affect them. That basically states that about the rates, when it's going to be, when the effective date would be if this was approved. And if you guys would like, I can mail that to all of the businesses in town.
That Lou had talked about, or Steve Rock was going to get us some information about percent change and so forth like that. And so I don't think we should mail anything or get anybody fired up until we get that answer back.
Okay,
Because it's gonna have to be incremental. We can't just, send it out like that. But it definitely needs to be addressed, for sure.
And what is the school paying right now as far as the EDUs?
they pay $1,925 a month. I don't know how many EDUs that would equate to. The last time this was looked at for the school rate was around 2010. They've doubled, if not more, since then. And they're supposed to be paying 0.09 cents per student and staff.
Okay. Just kind of wanted to have an idea what the difference was gonna be.
And so the school was my thing. Like, I remember when the last time this was negotiated, I was privy to those conversations and, it was based off of the number of kids, and our district has grown tremendously. We have not ever in 15 years raised the rate. And we probably would not be really looking at it right now if it wasn't for the fact that our usage has gone up so much in this last year. So we have to start charging people who are using more their fair share. And the other thing that I really would like to say as we're kind of considering this is the Monroe Gregg School District is a taxing unit of its own, and it draws taxes from 2 different townships. And I don't think it's fair that the burden be carried by the taxpayers in 1 square mile. Like, we're carrying that, picking up what they're not paying for. That's a almost $5,000 a month difference that the citizens of the town of Monrovia have been carrying for the Monroe Gregg taxpayers. So we need to get that dispersed back across the taxing authority that they are in charge of. I realize it'll affect their budget, and I'm sad about that, but it's affecting our budget a lot more.
Yeah.
So on to new business. We're going to talk about town alley quotes for grading and gravel. So Mariana, the map that you have in red, are
Yes.
these are the only alleyways they'll be treating?
Yes.
Why did they leave out the one between Subway and,
It's concrete.
It's asphalt.
oh, okay, that's good.
We don't need any gravel on it.
You don't want gravel there?
What about the one between like Hadley's and the old Mug and Pie or whatever that was?
Show me where that's at.
It's right here.
That's the one that's asphalt.
That was gravel. You don't have Subway on there, huh?
Well, let's look
Subway's
at
further
the.
west. Look at this one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That's not on there for some reason.
Yeah. That'd be the only other one that I don't see on here that I can think of.
Lauren, you were the one that made me this list. Do you know why was that one bid?
I never even considered it.
Okay.
I've not seen, really any traffic to it, but
Okay.
compared to some of the others.
I didn't even know it was there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's in their own place.
I know when we discussed that, I said alleys that are actual alleys and not fences and
Yeah.
buildings and grass.
Yeah, but it is a full alley that goes through,
Yeah,
so it probably should be included.
What about the little tiny one behind Nancy's?
It's on here.
Well, the east-west one is, but not the north-south. I think she's been putting gravel down on that north-south one. Are you talking Marley's Way? Behind his house, not beside it.
yeah, there's one beside Bob Marley's house that goes all the way across. And then there's the one that runs north and south, right next to Nancy's. And part of it is asphalt, part of it's not.
Just something we need to clarify before we get started.
I just drive that one and see.
Check this one.
Check the one by Hadley's.
Yeah.
Want to review the quotes, Marion?
Shorty one out, right here.
I think that the lesser of the two bids, I think we could probably get him to come in not much over that and cover those two alleys that are questionable.
Quite a big difference between the two.
Huge.
Are we sure that the scope of work is the same for
It
both
is
of
the
them?
exact same because I actually copied their scope of work and sent it to the second one.
I think we need to update the quotes for those missing alleys and then see what the new quotes are.
Okay.
That would be my thoughts. I make a motion that we table this until next month after we get an updated quote.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, the next thing is representatives of the Monrovia Festival Committee would like to speak. Drum roll. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Pam Littleford. I'm representing the Monrovia Festival. Just so we're not asking for money or anything. What we're asking is, a lot of us have been going to downtown to the festival, big festival meetings. We even went to fairs.com. And what we're hearing, what is succeeding and what's not. So North Carolina has already lost 3 of their fairs and most of their festivals. They can't get volunteers. People just don't want to be bothered. Well, I know our town enjoys our festival. I know it. I see it. I love all the people that come through and they're laughing and they're talking. They're not playing on their phones. They're speaking to people. The kids are laughing. And so to me, why I do this, it's for the people, you know? And I just want the town, so we can put the town on our festival guide, something that you guys either have a information booth of your own next to ours, so people can come by and meet you guys, talk to you guys, see what's going on, you know? That's all I'm asking, is that you guys get involved and with the hometown Christmas, you know, and things like that. So when we do go do all these things, because we're in here now, okay? I'm going to leave a few. We are in here. we're big. We want to be bigger. We want to grow, and we want to grow healthy, and we want to do it right. But I just feel like our missing link is the town. The town.
Has there, I feel like I've seen a booth from the town council the last few years.
There's a park board.
Park board, not the town council.
Oh, I guess I consider the park part of us.
They did last year. Last year, they were there. But do you see what I'm saying? Not asking for much, just a little bit of y'all's time, something, you know? So I wanted to come ahead of time to give you guys time to think about, you know, something that is easier for you guys, but yet you're still part of it. Okay?
So I think we need some clarification, because I really do take a little bit of like separation that the park board, which that is part of us. That is absolutely part of us. How is that not representing the town?
We won't be here this year. We're not going to the fair this year.
We're actually working the kids zone this year. We're not-
Yeah, they're doing the festival. So that's all I'm saying. And it's fine if you don't, that's fine too.
I have a wedding, so I won't be able to. I
Yeah,
have a
it's
wedding in
fine.
French
It's
Lick.
just, I wanted to reach out. And we wanted to do it personally, not, you know, tit for tat or whatever. So now it's up to you guys. I wanted to come and we wanted to just reach out.
I mean, I think the town supports the festival a lot. We have law enforcement here for that weekend and make sure we have plenty of coverage. We definitely allow the streets to be used for vending and those types of things. So I think there's a lot of
We make sure-
cooperation that the town does do. I think we do have a limited staff. I know I'm very involved with other activities that are very festival centered. So I think for us to man a booth is maybe feasible, but I don't know how feasible it is given the 3 days and manning other booths during that time. A lot of our time, I know Lauren gives of his time to at least one other booth. I don't want to say, I don't know, I don't think we are going to make or break the festival by having a town
No.
booth. I think if it's, would be beneficial for the town to have some sort of booth open, I think we should consider that. But I also think most of us are involved in the festival in other ways. And so that makes manning a booth, and we only have, you know, a handful of employees.
I would say, I think all of us do time at the Alumni Association
Yeah.
booth every year.
And so I think, you know, it's a great idea to have some representation there. But we are a small force here of just a few people. And so that may make it more of a challenge for us to actually have a booth per se. But it is something we can certainly consider.
Yeah,
Maybe having something more around the town, you know, town hall or something that we can certainly consider what we can do. But, you know, we definitely support the festival. And I think the town does offer benefits to the festival that, you know, are out there. But it is easier
Like how
said
we're
than
always
done.
trying
Yeah,
to keep
so-
things from being a problem for you.
Right.
well, I know, and the festival does a lot.
Yes, you do.
Mainly, Billy can get anything done. But Carol, I did not know that part of it. So if you could give that to us so we can get you guys on our thing,
What
you know,
part of
that the town approved the streets, the town, you know, we're letting those, just so we have something that everybody gets.
We are not, I guess we don't need to be patted on the back or anything like
Right.
that. Like, that's not why we're doing what we're doing. You know, Officer Wright has a couple times, he's trying to figure out how to get everything paid for. And we've said, the town will figure that out. Don't go to the festival and ask for how can this be done? This is our support of you, that we will make sure that, you know, his people are
Right.
paid and so forth.
Well, I'm not trying to pat you on the back, for one. I was thinking, since we're the community and we're all for the better, for the good of the people, when we hand out the festival thing, just to have, even if you guys just want to put a quote in it, when we pass that out, you're part of it. If you don't, I'm cool with it.
I think that, like,
Well, we do the festival with like 8 people.
Is there a town council photo? Like, could you put a photo in there with town council
Yeah,
members and say?
that's what
I mean, like, are you
that would
doing
even
like
be
a program
perfect.
we can donate, like an ad
No,
or something? Is that what
You could
mean?
just give us,
We do, we'll do that. We're gonna make a booklet this year that has different things, but we're not.
That would
necessarily
even be
asking
good.
for money. We're asking for like presence, like individuals maybe coming to like the tractor, raffle, make sure somebody's there representing the town. Or come, like I know Carol's in the parade every year, make sure that we announce that she's part of the town council as part of the parade. Just so it shows more cooperation, not even cooperation, but more community like togetherness.
That we're
Instead of
together.
like, okay, here's the town council,
And here's
the
us.
president committee, here's the alumni association.
we
here's
want it
whatever.
to be
So it's
this.
more community like.
Yeah, I think that we all thought we were.
But it's not represented in a formal sense as like in the booklet or something, so that outside.
That people, yeah,
Are
outside.
you feeling like you haven't had support in the past, or are you concerned you may not have support in the future?
No, I want to bridge it now, going forward.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like, do you feel like you haven't had the support in the past?
Honestly, I haven't paid that much attention till I had an eye opener at these meetings, how important it is. So that's why I came.
Yeah, I mean, you started off the presentation talking about North Carolina losing 3 festivals. Did the reason they lose their festivals because the town didn't appreciate the
No.
festival?
That's just reality right now. Festivals aren't being put on like they used to and things like that. We'll never let that happen. But it would be nice to, like she said, just have a little something in our thing. A picture of y'all, who they are.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
we could get a big picture of all of us and then put it up in some area like where they, you sell
Just
your.
put it in their
business.
program and just like have a quote.
Yeah,
from Tammy
that's
that
all it
says-
is.
You
From
can have
That's
the
all it is.
dartboard with our faces.
Yeah. Can I suggest sashes for each of them if they're walking in the parade?
Daggone it, I have that wedding.
But that's okay.
I was gonna
I
say,
just wanted to
I
come.
personally have been in probably 25 or 30 festival parades in my 55 years. So I definitely have walked a lot of parades.
Amen. But that's all I needed.
We can
That's all.
write on the
I got him
GOP festival wagon.
Yeah, I like I said, we are here to support you in any
Yeah.
way. And we have made sure that there are no vendor fees that are getting charged to you. We're still making sure that you are not getting charged any permit fees, any fees for our overtime for our police officers, and that we do have as many of our officers as possible up there the whole 3 days. I mean, I don't feel like anything has changed, and that's why I'm trying to find out if you feel like there was something that you needed from the past that wasn't being done, or you're
I
Just-
need your permission to put you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need your guys' permission. We
We
can't
can't
just
just
go
go
willy-nilly to put in there. We can't just say our town council. We need something from you.
Okay, well, why don't we have Mary Ann work on writing something up that can be added, like the town of Monrovia welcomes all the participants
Yep.
to the festival, and on behalf of the council, on behalf of
It's not
our
about getting you past the
president.
fact, it's about seeing that the towns, the government of our town supports our
Yeah.
festival.
So,
We know you do, we want to show it publicly.
yeah, so we
Oh,
can,
yeah.
we can work on something that I think can be added like that to
I
the,
appreciate
to
the
the
time.
bulletin.
absolutely. And if there is something that we can actually do, like something physically to help support you, we're always open to hearing any ideas that you have.
I'll come back if I.
But I was kind of thinking about that with the same thing with the school that we were talking about how, you know, a lot of times people say, you know, if Monrovia is only our borders. And so if you don't live inside these borders, you really shouldn't have a say. I don't feel that way. I feel we're a community. And then, you know, unfortunately that taxing border was set up when it was 20 years ago. But, you know, I wonder if the county, they are kind of marking their dominance around us right now. Do they support you in any way or give you anything? That would certainly be somebody to go to for some support.
We're learning to reach out. We're learning a lot right now with. And
to
to
personally-
personally too and stuff. So, no, we don't get much from the county, if anything.
I do think they send some officers down for you, don't they, Matt? For the parade?
Depends on the year.
Because we don't have enough to close off all the streets ourselves, right?
We made it with certain people too.
No, so last year, Mooresville sent officers over, this county didn't have anybody available. The year before, the county sent some up for me. The county, I believe, has already committed to me this year, for the needs, bring needs. Mooresville will commit to me, I'm sure, if I ask. Again, yes, I have resources and it's
Okay.
strictly just asking.
I don't know if they support, like, I don't know if the county has any budget that they give to, like, what do they call that at Martinsville? I've never been in all my years. of being
Fall
on-
Foliage Festival?
The foliage festival. You know, I don't know if they give any kind of taxpayer support to that festival or not. Just something to look into,
We'll look into it.
because that's just Martinsville, you know, I'm just saying that. You said you've been involved in the Paragon thing, right?
Martinsville. The Fall Foliage Festival started in the 50s. It was originally set up for the downtown businesses to put it through. They, for years, were the second largest parade in the state of Indiana. They had a lot of support financial support from the businesses that used to be there, which is why their festival is deteriorating too, because there's less and less businesses there.
But I thought you grew up in Paragon and that you
No.
had done something with the Paragon Festival.
No.
Okay. Do you know if the county gives the Foliage Festival any
I
money?
do not know.
Just wondering about that.
Do you invite like Senator Bray, your state rep?
They're always here in the parade, right?
Say-
If
you
it's
like what
election
you-
year.
They will be, this year because, they're starting to campaign the next year.
Yeah,
It depends
I
on
wanna
what-
make sure- well,
what the election
what's all the
looks
festival
like.
stuff?
Jane said they've already ran us not the registration.
Or Congressman Beard, you know, I all those people love that kind of stuff.
All right.
I don't like that sound.
Yeah, that is good, isn't it?
Well, thanks for coming,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and we'll work on, getting something put together.
Callie can help you with that, I'm sure. Yeah. All right, the police department update. Did we win?
Yes, we won.
That's awesome.
I'm not
Whoa.
gonna tell you the score. But I
54 to
appreciate
17.
Chief Mills put a lot of work into putting that event together. It went off very well for the first time that we had it. We had a pretty good crowd. It was fun. You know,
You raised some money, I heard.
that's what I heard. That's what Chris said. Unless he spent it all already, but I'm sure it went where it needs to go. You know, and put cops and firefighters together. Sometimes things get a little heated, but it was still fun. Everybody had a good time. The spectators enjoyed it.
Nobody got hurt?
Not any more hurt than we already were. I believe we're going to try and make this an annual event, or some version of it. So that will be hopefully staying right here in years to come. If not, I'll hand it back over gracefully. The stats, the stats are holding about steady. The last couple months are about steady. I mean, they weren't changed a little bit of numbers here and there, but the numbers overall are about the same for the last couple months. So I'd say we're doing a decent job there. But things are probably going to change here now that the kids are out and summer's hitting, and there'll be a lot more people wandering around town and things like that. The body cameras, everybody's been trained. All the body cameras are being used. Officers are using body cameras without working. And we're getting video and things like that, and it's all getting stored and used for reporting and use it for cases and things like that, as they should be. Obviously, it's a great benefit. Officers can review their cases and before they type the reports to make sure everything is kosher and make sure everything works. And then prosecutors have access to the video as well as needed when they're needed. I got two more locking cabinets or 2 more vaults donated. Mooresville donated 2 vaults to go in the back of the SUVs. So now every vehicle will have a locking cabinet or a vault in it, which is able to store one of the rifles that were donated last time. I just have to get them installed. The 2 that got donated from Mooresville, they have to be wired in. They have a key, but they also have wired in so that they can be opened remotely. Not super big deal, but it's just wiring them up properly so that they work properly and we don't have any electrical problems in the car. But those cabinets are probably what Mooresville gave us. They're probably $1,000 a piece if we were to buy them brand new. We got them because they're going to a different vehicle, and the ones that we got fit in the Ford SUVs that we got. So they're willing to give them to us. Next thing on is I'd like to begin a process of potentially hiring some more reserves. I'd like to get our numbers up to 15 total. The caveat that I'm asking for is that I can only hire them if I have the budget or I'm able to get the equipment needed donated or supplied, because I obviously know that money is still tight. But if I can get what's needed, the vests, the radios, the guns, and I get things like that or get funding for that to be donated, am I allowed to bring my staff up to 15? That's the first part of it. The next part of it is kind of the hiring process that I foresee. I know the first part might be a little stickler, but I think it's kind of more of a cost-saving measure, especially when we're dealing with the reserve side of the house. Reserves while they're at will, they're very, very at will employees. I mean, they have absolutely no protection at all when it comes to a reserve. If you can come in and say that the position's eliminated and let them go. The psychological exams are $400 to $450 a piece per person, which gets pretty pricey pretty fast when we're doing that. I'm not sure, it's my opinion, I'm not sure if this is responsible for reserves when we're looking at it in the big picture. Again, I leave that to your guys' discretion. The hiring process, though, in my opinion, would consist of a panel interview conducted by the officers. I would hand over basically the applications to an officer to do backgrounds on. The officer to select who they want to interview or who they think would be good candidates to interview. They would do a panel interview. Then we would check the records with ILEA to make sure that their training is in good standing or what past training that they had, so that we knew ahead of time before we were even to offer them any position what we would have to do to get them up to speed if we were to offer them a position. And then the recommendations from the panel background would come to me, and then we would look at conditional offers. And then if they were given a conditional offer, they would still do a drug screen like we currently do as well.
Do you have any extra equipment now?
I have a little bit of extra equipment. I think I have 1 or 2 guns left. I have 3 radios. The big piece will be the vest, of course, which is where I got to work on getting that stuff donated, to try and get that taken care of. But again, that's why I put the caveat in there. I mean, obviously I can't hire if I can't get the equipment. But with Officer Cole being off, and, you know, reserves, and then obviously the festival coming, I want to make sure that we have enough staffing to cover as much as we can cover, without overtaxing everybody, and then provide the town with more coverage day and evening, and maybe some later into the overnights, especially as we come into summer if possible. It may take us longer than that to find viable candidates. I mean, right now I don't even have any candidates in mind. I've got some applications that I've put in the drawer to look at, but haven't really dialed down on them to look down to see if they are viable candidates yet to pass on to a group of officers to start doing backgrounds or panel interviews with. So, you know, there's nothing to say that we would hire anybody in the next month or the next 3 months. Just I'd like to start the process or get the idea of maybe having some people ready to hire if we can get the equipment ready, if they were interested. Again, knowing that, hey, we may be able to hire you, but you may have to wait until we can come up with the equipment to hire you.
How many do we have again currently?
We currently have 10, but one of them, Cole, is off, so we're at 9 with Cole being off. But I would still count as 10 because of Cole.
And you can, the number of vehicles is not going to become an issue if we have 5 more officers?
No, I think we would spread it out a little. We'd spread out the officers more to spread out the coverage so that potentially maybe have 2 officers working during the daytime or during some certain times of the day, busier times of the day, so that there's 2 vehicles out. Potentially, we would still have 2 other vehicles ready to be used if need be. Again, there's just, again, even in the vehicle conversation was to come up right now, there's no viable vehicles even out there that I've even come across that I would even consider trying to even beg you guys for. Because nobody has any right now. So again, I don't foresee it. Again, the scheduling would be spread out because right now we're scheduling pretty much 1 officer, at least 1 officer. Sometimes there's 2 officers working throughout the day. I'd like to get to the point where we have multiple officers working throughout the day, maybe some daytime coverage, some evening coverage every day of the week. And then maybe when we get to the evenings or the weekends, we have multiple officers working at the same time. That way they have a backup officer that's close, not always relying on the county to come up here if the officer needs help. It would give us the opportunity if the officer needs, if we're bringing somebody in that does need some training, it gives them the opportunity to be riding with the other officer that's working so that they can get up to speed and get trained with the way we do things, the way we want things done out here as well.
Yeah, and I'll somewhat defer to our lawyer for this, but I feel like the psychological testing, to me, it doesn't matter whether we can let the officer go for no, or not active leading thing we want to do versus a lagging thing we want to have to let somebody go as a reactionary thing. I look at the psychological exams as a way for us to potentially identify someone who could be a problem and not allow them to be a problem. And $450 is a bargain if we're able to avoid something that could be a bigger issue for all of us. We're not going to be able to identify all the issues, and people probably can pass them that maybe shouldn't. And there's always going to be a few gaps there, but I'll defer to our representation to maybe give some input on what their thoughts are But my initial thought would be that that's something we would want to keep as part of the process.
I mean, I was just throwing it out there. I'm not saying,
Yeah,
you know, I've seen it go both ways. I've seen huge departments hire people and the backgrounds just totally failed them and the officers been
Yeah,
in jail. And I get
I
it.
think it can happen. I don't think it's bulletproof vest of, it's gonna protect us from ever having a problem. But I think it's worth the effort for us to try to do that. to
Okay.
avoid
I
problems.
and I
That's just
wouldn't
my
be,
thoughts.
I'm not saying that
What your
I'm
thoughts are.
not saying that that's my stand. I'm just throwing it out there that
Yeah,
if there was to be, that's where I would cut some costs if it was possible. If not, I'll try to figure out where to come up with the money for that too, if I have to.
well, I say too, I mean, a compromise on cost would be, to get a couple more officers and not 5 more officers. Because, I mean, maybe that's the ultimate goal is 15, but maybe for right now, we look at having a dozen, with, I know, I realize Cole's off, but, that maybe is something we could look at as well. Just to throw that out.
Is there a manning table that you could send to them?
Like,
Manning table, like a schedule, so they know like how many people are working, what days, like that gives them a better idea of like how many bodies we have, FTE count, the reserve count, like what is covered, what's not, like so they can look at that. But I also tend to agree with Councilwoman Youngblood that I wouldn't risk $400 to $500 on not getting a psych eval. And nobody's perfect, right?
no.
Trust me, I live in Indy and I deal with officers all the time that have had some issues, unfortunately. But it is a layer of, I guess, confidence for the people of Monrovia. If someone's going to engage the public in potentially a lethal situation, I definitely want them psych checked. I think that's a liability because the town can get sued, right? So $400 to $500 on the front end, as opposed to $500,000 on the back end or more, is money well spent, in my opinion.
I feel like it is definitely shows that if there were ever an incident that we've seriously tried to, I do have some knowledge that not everybody does psych tests, and I realize it probably is overkill in some people's minds, but I also think that it definitely shows that we've done everything we can to protect people from hiring the wrong person. So I also am a fan of that. You hit the nail on the head. Before I would vote to hire more people, I want to see where the coverage is needed and kind of have some input on where we need to cover people a little bit too. Like, I guess there was an altercation this last week back at like some road rage incident after school, people trying to get out of this silly dog leg at 39 and 42, and somebody overtook another driver. And, if you said, I really want somebody over here at 3 o'clock and I want somebody over here at 3 o'clock, I could see trying to come up with reasons to cover people, not just arbitrary to have them to fill this, vacancies. I would like for us to say, this is what our goal is to achieve. We want somebody here on Saturday nights, not by themselves. We want somebody here, 2 people here on Saturday nights, that kind of thing. I could get behind that a little bit more if I had some clear direction of what we're trying to achieve.
We're also going to be starting our budgeting process in June, and that way we'll be able to determine how much money we have, to buy the other equipment that's needed too. So that's something we need to look forward to.
We're starting that in June.
I think that's when it starts,
Mid-July is the first workshop.
mid-July, but generally we start putting our numbers together in June, don't we?
Saturday.
It says the first workshop on AIM is mid-July.
Oh, really?
I believe Financial Solutions has already started putting something together,
Mhm.
but they haven't communicated it with us yet.
Yeah, okay then.
But definitely it needs like a formal request of dollars needs to be ready to go for a budget. And anything you still had left over from last year, you know, all that in a nice formal thing for financial solutions would be great.
Sure, I'm not gonna be happy with my budget, but I'm sure it'll get cut significantly, but
I
That's
don't
what
know,
it
we're
is.
making a lot more money. You never know.
Never know.
I do have one question for you. I don't want to come off rude when I say this, but for 3 hours one night, the Charger sat in an alley facing the wrong direction and never left. So if we're gonna have an officer on duty, why does it need to sit in an alley facing the wrong direction and not be moving?
I agree. That's the stuff I need to know about so that I can address it. I need to know, again, I agree. It should be out moving around, it should be patrolling, should be being seen.
The only reason I seen him because he had his lights on the whole time. It's just right out back here. But I was farming last Monday and was running back and forth, and every time he came to town, I'm thinking, damn, dude, you could move. But he sat there for 3 hours, and that was at midnight when I seen him the last time. So just curious. I'm not, don't want to come off wrong or whatever. I was just curious.
No. Yeah,
How do you like your new car?
it's great. I appreciate it.
Redirect, I like it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put Monrovia on that somewhere?
Wasn't planning on it.
Oh, I want it to be big letters too. Something
It'll
catchy,
look
almost like Speedway
so
looking.
gaudy.
Huh?
It'll look so gaudy.
I don't think we have to do the town symbol or anything, but I would like to see Monrovia Police on there or public safety or what do you like to go by?
Let me think about it. Let me see what I can come up with for it. All right. I'll see what I can put together.
Thank you. All right. Sewer department. Sean and I's favorite part of the night.
All right. We have April's report in front of us. We had 10,466,000 gallons this month. Average daily flow was 348,870 gallons. We had 8.75 inches of rain. 9 inches. It has been a wet few months. I mean, if you look back from January to April, every month we've just been getting a lot of rain. That being said, our percent capacity was 116%, way over our 90. Good thing is all our treatment removals were good. We wasted 178,000. We supernated 115,000. We did not have any violations to report. As far as projects go, we do have the flow meter at Homestead lift station up and going now, and you should have that report with you guys. It should have been included with your stuff. I got that kind of late to Ricky. The first few days, I don't have that in front of me. I thought I brought a copy of it. I guess I didn't. The first few days we had some troubles with it, and then the station went down, and then it got back up. So it's not consistent like I'd like to see it as. But if you notice, it's usually around 200 or so, which is what we're kind of figuring we're getting from Homestead. I'm hoping next month we'll get some better figures and know exactly what's going on, but we're getting a lot of flow from it. We did finish reviewing the footage of the lines in Homestead, and there's 3 different areas where the pipe from the home coming into the main has come apart or broken or something. And there's water coming in that way. So I have to contact Fluidways, who lined our other main line, and find out if they can even do that, how that gets repaired, if they're able to line something like that, because that's not typically something they would do. They do the main huge lines, not the little laterals coming in. And I'm not sure how the town even wants to approach that, because that's where their line comes into our line. So, again, this is on the sections where we weren't inspecting them. We had that engineering firm that was inspecting them, but had the whole dentist office fiasco and cut out on us. So I don't know. Something to think about. I'll contact them and get back to them, but hopefully at the next meeting, maybe you guys can hash that out and come up with whatever you guys think we should do. I don't know. It's kind of a odd situation. I mean, your options at repairing those, or if they can't line it, we have to dig it up and replace the piping. And I don't know if that's going to be on us or the homeowner or what. So, or if we can go back on the developer or the company that put it in. I mean, I don't know. That's something to look at, something to think about and research.
Might be a question for Bose and Kenny too. I mean, I feel like, they probably have some previous experience with other clients
Sure.
in sewer utility that,
How
It
many
might
of
be
them
a-
is there?
Huh?
How many of them is there?
Three.
Three.
of them. Yeah, 3 laterals.
About how far deep would they be?
They're right where the main goes in. They go tap into the main, so probably pretty deep. I mean, the main is
I know
30
those, I
foot,
know those
so-
lines are deep down through there.
Yep, they're probably about 30 feet down. So you're looking at digging someone's yard up and possibly the road.
Creek.
I mean, I'm hoping we can line them. I don't know. I need to talk to Fluid Waste, see if that's even a possibility. If it is, that would be the most cost-effective way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
But I will check with them, find out, try to get back with you. But you
Would-
might look into who you think should be paying for it in the meantime.
would Torrid be able to give us any information on that?
Sorry, you paid for when went wrong with the dentist office.
I
Was
think
it
the town did. The town got stuck with that.
Because it's the same person
Yeah.
doing the sewer and homestead as this at that.
I know. We had that
Okay,
meeting with
so
that.
I don't know.
We had the
Okay,
meeting with that engineering company and they literally stood up at the old town hall and walked out. So,
Yeah.
if you remember. So, yeah.
That was before me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was a while ago. The town ended up putting the bill for that because we had to clean all the gravel, and when they core drilled the manhole for the dentist office, all the gravel and all the rock went to the lateral lines down into Homestead. And that was kind of the last straw for the town with that firm. And it was like, hey, you guys can't be doing this kind of stuff. We addressed it with them and they walked out.
What was that engineering firm from my knowledge?
I'd have to look. I've got paperwork on
Yeah,
it.
we
I don't
got
remember off the top of my head.
They didn't turn in paperwork with sewer inspection either, so they didn't.
Yeah, we didn't even have, like, when we do an inspection, we'd send it to Mary Ann, they keep records of it, we keep records of it. You got records of it everywhere. Well, we asked them for their records, just like when we do it, they wouldn't give us anything.
Gotcha.
And the people in the field that we work with now that are the same people that work with them, so their guy never got out of trouble. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with. So yeah, I don't know how you guys want to go about it, but I will check with Fluid Waste. Hopefully it's not going to be an expensive fix and they can just line that and it'll be okay. But I've never had them line a lateral, so I don't know.
Gotcha.
Other than that, we haven't really seen any other really big issues. There was a couple areas we couldn't see in the footage and we've contacted the company and talked to them. They're going to come back out and re-televise those areas and get us better footage that we can review, but it's not a lot. So that, and they still have the one section to do that we could not get done until the lift station was fixed because it's right by the lift station. It was always underwater.
Okay.
That brings me to my next project. The Homestead lift station did go down after it was turned back on. We had an arc flash. It burned up the controls in the cabinet. At this point, everything's been replaced for about a week now. Everything's back up and running again. Seems to be good. We did have Eubanks come back over afterwards because they had the same technician wire all the controls and same guy did all the work. He's not an electrician. So we had Eubanks come and check everything and they verified it looked good. They were happy with the work that he did. They said it should be fine. So they gave it their kind of stamp of approval. And We have not had an issue, so hopefully we continue to not have an issue. It's running good.
No, no, that's what I thought.
The rental pump has been sent back. It was sent back like I think the next day. They came out and got it, so we should be getting a bill from Rain for rent. It's the first time we've ever rented with them, set an account up and all that. So he should be getting a bill for that at any time.
Did you get all the pumps replaced there at Homestead?
2. We only did the 2. We
Only
didn't
did the
do
2?
3. And thank God they were not hurt during that arc flash. I mean, it burned up all the controls in the cabinet, but it did not hurt
Boy.
the pumps because they were brand new pumps. Glad for that. And we have not received a bill from BBC on that yet. And I have Ricky still keeping an eye out in case we do. I don't know if we will. When I talked to the sales guy, he wanted to see Eubanks's report, and I have not given that to him. I'm kind of waiting to see what they bill the town, and then we'll cross that bridge when it comes and kind of fight back. Because my personal opinion, you should be paying a dime for it. In fact, you should be sending them a bill for the rental pump, my labor, my bills. So if they send a bill, we can always come back with that and be like, hey, this is the cost of what we paid out too. So it's kind of my idea on that, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. We may never see a bill from them. I don't know. We did receive a quote for all the backup controls, parts you guys wanted for every lift station in town, and that quote is in your packet as well. If you have any questions, just let me know. It's the Torque Engineering, and it's just titled Replacement Lift Station Parts. So it just kind of goes over, it just gave us a total price for everything, but that's for all the stations excluding Homestead because that's all brand new. And that's all still covered in the warranty, but that's for Terrace, Baltimore Road, Terrace Drive, and State Road 42.
How long is that stuff covered under warranty up there?
2 years, or yeah, they said 2 years, or 2 years.
But if it does something again, we're gonna be.
Homestead, not.
Yeah, but if something happens again, we'll be waiting 2 or 3 weeks and we'll be renting pumps and blah, 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 blah.
Very possible. Because they don't keep parts on the shelf anymore. Nobody has parts.
Those parts need added, in my opinion.
Called them today and asked for what happened to my parts I ordered for the grinder pumps. Because I ordered 4 discharge pipes for the check valves for the grinder pumps. Never got them. I asked for a box of floats. Never got them. I said, oh, well, they're still coming. That was over a month ago.
I think we order parts, even though those are under warranty, that a spare set for up there should be included.
100% agree.
Oh, and this.
Anybody else have
Those parts are gonna be, yes, those parts will
Okay.
be cheaper than renting pumps and.
Yeah, probably.
And we've had
Fluid
nothing
waste
but
and-
trouble, so
Right. Yeah, I can definitely, that's not a problem. I can have him add that to it.
Yeah.
That way we're cut. I mean, even though they're under warranty, then they can replace them and give us back.
Yeah, that's definitely not a problem. I thought that price, considering what you're getting, I mean, you're getting all the controls for 3 stations is really good. And they got a deal with BL Anderson. I think is who they have a deal with. Torque does. They get them for like cost, so they don't pay. They barely mark them up because
I like that price.
the guy that takes care of this for us, the guy that works at Torque, and he worked for a different company before, but he lives right off Baltimore Road. And that's why I've always used him. He's a good guy. His name's Rick Reed.
The owners of Torque live in Monrovia too.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, well, there you go. So yeah, they definitely cut us a deal. They try to be.
But I
as
definitely get a
fair.
price for homesteads too.
Okay. Yeah, I can call him and talk to
Be
him
way
about that. That's
cheaper,
not
I
bad. Not a bad idea. We'll need them. I mean, it's not like they're going to go bad. I can put them on a shelf out there at the plant, and when the warranty's up, I still have them. So.
And if we have a bad problem, then the warranty ones, they put
Right.
them back on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, I'll add that to it. Good idea. Then the other thing, let's see. I already went over US Hydrovac cleaning televised in section 5 now that it's back up and running. Still haven't gotten to the fine screen water line. We'll get to that eventually. We did receive a quote for the new flow meter and everything needed at the school to start monitoring their flow. And that's the second Torque quote you guys got. This is not for any concrete work. This would just be for the mechanical, the device, and everything we need. And this would be a once a week read. It has a storage of 30, I think it had a storage of like 30 days, actually. So if that's something you guys want to
I
go
talked to
with.
Lou and told him about what this price was, Lou Sapka, and he said he thought that that was a good price for that repair. What do you think, Ryan?
It seems pretty cheap to me. Depends on how much it's gonna cost to regrout that loom in there though.
That'll be the hardest part. Yeah, the concrete. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think we spent, when we bought our flow meter that we're using at Homestead, I think it was $7,000. But it's portable. This is stationary. So I thought that was very reasonable. Again, Torque, I mean, they try to cut us a deal every time, I think. But yeah, I thought it was very reasonable. Just don't know about the concrete work. I'm still trying to get quotes on that.
Summertime's the time to do it though, where
Yeah.
flow is
Down.
low and.
All right. Yeah, getting down in there and working on it. That's
Yeah,
not going to be fun.
Definitely get started before they do football practice.
Yeah. Right.
So when is like, who are you have quoting the concrete?
Well, we tried to get a couple different concrete companies and we haven't had much luck. You've been dealing with that more than me.
I talked to Sharp Valley Construction, who is
Sharp Valley
a small
Concrete.
business in Danville, and they didn't come out and give me a quote. I sent them a picture and they never got back. But I got online, I found a bunch of different companies that I want to contact and ask, because it is a big job. You know, you have to get down there and you have to line it with different, I forget what it's called,
It's that,
something proxy or.
something concrete. It's a, what do you call that concrete?
No,
So this isn't just any concrete company.
Yeah, it's not normal
No, it's not
concrete. It's
normal
special.
concrete and
It's
they
like a
have to do
hydro something.
hydro concrete or something.
So I can't.
Eddie would know, I forget what they call it, but, and they'll have to do a confined space entry when they do that too, because it's down inside the manhole, so they gotta hook the guy up, lower him down, test the atmosphere and all that jazz. We did contact Jamar, right, or you were going to? Or?
I was going to.
Okay,
yeah,
they
I
did
had a
some work
chance.
in Clayton, and they did some concrete stuff and things like that, so we're gonna try to get a hold of them, and get them out here to look at it. There's a couple of places we're trying.
Cause that needs done first, cause that loom's still staying in there, right? It's not gonna be a new loom put in.
No, we're just gonna concrete that area that's eroded and just make the water flow through that, yeah. So all that stays. It's just the concrete's gotten bad over the years, ate up. That hydrogen sulfide gas just eats that stuff up.
And so we'll try to get a quote on that, and then if we're gonna do it, we need to act sooner than later, so it's done before school starts.
Right.
So if we vote on it in the June meeting, that'll give them enough time, hopefully.
Hopefully you can have some concrete quotes back by next month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we'll give you that, definitely.
And then the only other thing I had was we're getting pretty full on solids. And usually around July, we have hauled out. We try to do it July, November every year, but this past November, we didn't haul. So we just kind of put it off till now. So I don't know how you guys want to go about that or what our funds are looking like for hauling sludge and all that jazz.
I'm new to this, like, how much are we talking?
1.7 million in the sewer fund.
How much did Merrill Brothers charge you last time? Do you remember?
67,000 for sludge removal,
It was 67.
but that's annually.
Yeah, that's a year. Yeah.
Because in '24 it was October when they did it, and then back in June.
Okay.
So
Yeah, November. Yeah.
yeah, so this time it's probably gonna be in September, October. We're looking at when they're gonna charge the town.
Okay. Okay. So if you guys want me to, I can call them and try to schedule that and get that organized.
I'd like some quotes.
Okay. Yeah,
As
we
long
can
as
get
like-
some-
You know, we're getting concrete quotes and say like how much
Yeah.
per gallon, like why
Sure.
can't we get 3
Is
companies?
there more than that Merrill that does? it?
Oh yeah, we've gotten quotes in the past and they've always been the cheapest because they're one of the biggest ones and they have their own farm fields. So, but I have no problem asking around, getting some quotes and stuff.
They're in Mooresville every day.
Oh yeah, I know.
Every day.
Every day you see their
Every
truck drive
day.
by, yeah. Yeah. Because Mooresville has problems at their plant. A lot of problems. That's why they've been on the news or.
One last question. The upgrade.
Yes, we started construction. I don't know if everybody knows about that or not, but they've been out there. They've had 3 guys out there that were just busting hump. I mean, they worked their tails off. They were there 8 a.m. every day until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. They've ripped out all the old blowers. We saved the one because it's still good. We could use it for a backup or whatever if we had to. They've already tore out all the piping, all the old blowers. They built the new control room in there. They've already set the new blowers in. They haven't piped them in yet because they're still waiting on piping and stuff like that. And this week, the electricians were out there today working on stuff, getting the electrical going. So they're moving right along.
So Lou's really kicked them into gear.
Yeah, they've been busy as all get out. It's been crazy
Yeah, it's-
out there. It's just
A little slow but starting.
starting out. Yeah. Well, that schedule didn't look very good. So I was real happy when I was able to send IDEM a thing saying, hey, they're out here working now. Like they're literally out here doing stuff. So
Good.
that makes it look good if they show up or whatever. We are progressing or working towards
So,
what we're trying to do. So,
I was out there the other day, I saw that generator. That's a big mother.
yes, that is a huge generator. You should have seen us unloading that, Lauren. That was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. I'll tell you that right now. That was crazy. Two cranes. No, I hate where it's located at, but that's why they put it there is because it's not easy to move that thing.
No.
They just took it off the truck and left it where it was.
How long before fine's gonna be coming with the capacity?
You won't really get a fine for that as long as you're not violating your permit and stuff. That's the main thing. As long as we're able to keep everything in the plant running and processing still, we'll be okay. What you're gonna end up having is they'll come out and say, you can't build on, you can't add any more homes, you can't expand anymore. You're pretty much stuck with what you got, is what they'll end up doing.
And when he says he needs to haul solids, he probably needs to haul solids.
Oh, yeah, we need to haul as
We
soon as
gotta
we can.
Keep it empty or can,
That's part of it too.
part of the process.
Because if we hauled, we'll have more tank space. So if we get higher rains or higher flows, it'll overflow into those tanks. That's true.
Brian, can you get us quotes? Like, I think we can vote to do it based upon, receiving 3 quotes from you and Mary Ann giving you to go ahead to go with the lowest quote.
Sure.
That
I
sound
almost
good?
guarantee you Merrill Brothers will be the cheapest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely look and be sure, but I almost
Yeah,
guarantee it.
well, the guy who walked away from wasn't,
Yeah, the previous guy
he
was,
wasn't charging the town right, we
No.
believe, so. it
the
became
previous
then
dewatering.
Merrill
company.
Brothers with Golden Dust there, so it
Yeah.
may be different now, so I can do that.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We'll give some calls. They'll usually give you like a dollar amount per gallon right off the bat. So.
And then, like ballpark, how many gallons are you thinking kind of thing? Like you said it before, you've done it twice a year and now it's been almost not a whole year, I guess it is only.
Yeah, almost, but yeah, it'll be a whole year in November. So, well, both tanks are completely full, so
Okay.
a lot.
Okay.
A few 100,000 gallons at least. I'd have to crunch the numbers and
It'll be a
determine.
process. That'll take some time to get it.
Yeah,
Uh,
2 days.
Yeah, when Merrill Brothers does it, they bring about 12 tanker trucks out and they knock it out in like a day or so. They're just constantly running in and out of there. It's crazy.
And awesome at the same time.
Huh.
And awesome because it's done.
Yeah, and it's great because it's done and it's over with and you don't have to worry about it. So, or some other places, they like to drag their feet and whatever, but yeah, we'll definitely get quotes. It's not that I'm real partial to them. It's just that's how they did it in the past.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote on that or do we just say go ahead or? Just because I'm new, I don't know.
Well, we can, I guess. I'll make a motion to, for Mary Ann to approve the, go-ahead for the lowest bidder for hauling sludge based on 3 quotes that, Sean will be submitting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you see that?
Do you want to do a Parks and Recreation while you're here, Ms. Ford?
So we had 4 trees planted at the park today along the entrance. They look beautiful if you got to go by and see them. We had some good news. We finally had our 5-year plan approved by DNR. I mean, I got copies for you guys in the letter, the approval letter. I should take your glasses off. I'm not sure if those stairs.
Thank you.
I think I gave you his approval letter. It's underneath yours. So the approval letter's on top, and then the 5-year plan. Sorry. No, emailed you a copy of it. Okay. Go ahead. So as you guys all know, we had to rework the 5-year plan from what we originally had, so it's completely different than anything you guys have seen in the past. But it has been approved. DNR has it, is approved. I have to send him, the last 2 pages are the signed resolution that the park board did, and then the ADA signed copy. And I have to send him the original copies, but he said send it snail mail, and is not in any big hurry, but that's the last step to it. So we now qualify for applying for DNR grants in order for the trail that we would like to put at the park. So that's our next step. He has on the approval letter, he has the name of the grant officer, and he says to go ahead and reach out to him if we're planning on applying for any of those grants. So I'm asking for your guys' approval to do that. Any of the grants that DNR gives will be a matching grant. They're typically a 20-80 matching grant. The 20% match that we would have to do can be anything from money to donations to could be someone donating materials or donating work. So it doesn't necessarily all have to be funds, but it would still be a 20-80 matching grant.
And then do you just give them an amount and we have to, like community crossings, we have to agree ahead of time that we'll give that much, or do they give their grants and then we have to match whatever it comes out to be?
So we would write the grant and put in how much it would cost to do the trail, and then they would agree to do 80% of it, and then we would say we are doing 20%, and here's how we're covering our 20%. So whether that's the town has given us, we have 20% of the money, or we got 10% of the money, and then we have 10% of it coming from this person is, or this company is donating work, or they're donating materials, or however we're going to cover that 20%.
And what will the cost be for the trail?
It's in that, or the estimated cost when this was made. You never know with material fees. It is
$200,000.
What page is that, Brian?
21.
Gotcha. So is this the trail, is this gonna be like the walking path you were talking
Yeah,
about?
that's that mile, the walking trail around the perimeter of the park.
Okay.
It would also include, in the 5-year plan, our park is not really ADA compliant. And part of that walking trail would be adding some of that ADA compliance to it. It would include a trail to the playground and a access trail to the shelter house, which would be ADA compliant.
So you need from us a $40,000 pledge, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
And we cannot use your impact fees for this.
No, because we don't have a trail.
What's a half a mile?
That's the first thing I thought too. Well, we can get a little trail. We'll put a little trail over here on this piece over here. Does it have to be asphalt trail if we're gonna put in a new asphalt
It has
trail?
to be ADA compliant material. So I don't think asphalt is the only ADA compliant material, because you can get like the crushed stone that's ADA compliant, but it has to be ADA compliant material in order for it to be an ADA compliant trail. Does that make sense?
So since the Veterans Memorial will be a pocket park and it's going to have walkways, would that allow you to use your impact fees? Possibly,
Possibly.
Probably.
because he's getting a lot closer.
Mhm.
And if we were to,
Yeah, so if you give permission for me to write for the grant, I don't know that we necessarily, you necessarily have to say, we're going to give you the money. You just have to say, yes, you can write for this grant, and then we will figure out how to cover, you know what I'm saying? How to cover it, whether it's we come up with the money, or we get people to, or we figure out how to use the impact fee because he's put that in.
well,
Does
he's
that make
getting pretty
sense?
close and he really would like to see us help him finish across the goal line. And if that would kill two birds with one stone, get his project going
And that property has been declared green space because it was going to,
Sure we did.
right? And so it was going to be turned over as park property, which is what the green space was originally intended to do.
Yeah, and we
So,
have to
yeah.
maintain it
So
going
once
forward,
it-
so it has to become
Once it
part of our
becomes
parks.
park property, yeah, it's got trails on it. Or you've got a trail, yeah.
And it will be ADA compliant, so I think he's within $5,000 now, so. And then he just had his news article on last night, so.
It's on today too. So,
It's gotten shared a lot as well.
Does that sound right to you?
I think that's next level trail money, I believe. That's through DNR. That's being put in through it. I think on the application, who are you working with?
So it is in Simons at DNR.
I think you'll have to list like how the 20%, because they have to approve the grant based on the holistic, like what is the idea, the plan, how is this going to come to fruition? Because they get so many applications from people. So I guess I would just you'd have to nail that down or answer more questions of them. But they approve the plan for the trail. Now it's just the grant funding piece. So I think, yeah, the application most likely is going to say, okay, you're committed to the 20%. How are you going to do that?
What do we have? Do you have your fund report with you?
I do not, but the park impact fee has
Chunk of money.
55,000 in it.
I that right now we don't have, unless we want to put another playground in
Unless,
or
yeah.
shelter house in, we
Yeah,
don't
I
have
mean-
anything to spend it on.
There's probably more, well, after the 2 park or impact fees from DR Horn, so that's about 57,000.
So the money's there. We
Yeah,
just
and so if you can at least show
access it.
them that it's there, so either we're gonna use a chunk of this with something else, or all of this, or whatever, right? But it's there, and they'll probably want your signature, saying that, yes, the money is there for use. We will commit that the 20% will be there in order to approve the whole thing.
I'm willing to do that.
So do we need to vote on it?
Yes, we do need to vote.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we grant permission, authorize, however the proper wording should be, for the park board to apply for the grant. And we will, with the understanding that we will be responsible for 20% of the matching funds.
Earmarked from the impact.
Yeah.
Out of the impact fee? Or, oh, okay, now I got it.
I think we're yet to confirm though
Okay, no, I
where
understand.
the money will come from, but we are committed that we understand we're responsible for the 20%.
And we will support you in figuring out how to do that.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So as I said earlier, the park board, instead of having a booth at the festival this year, we will be working the Citizens Bank's Kids Zone because they said that they had problems with manning it last year. So that's what the park board chose to do this year instead of having a booth. So we will be working that at the festival this year. And my last thing is, we had a gentleman come to us 2 meetings ago, and I think he came to your guys' last meeting about people walking through cutting through his yard. It's on Terrace, or there's cutting through his yard to get to the park. When we spoke with him, we told him that we had talked about from the beginning that because we had one other person come, actually when we were still in the old building, so at the very beginning of the park board, come to us about putting a fence up. And we said that the neighbors would be more than welcome to put fences up, but the park would not be putting a fence up around the perimeter. That it just was not feasible for a 4-acre park to do that. Not only because of the cost of putting a fence up, but the maintenance of maintaining that fence. I said that there were potentially other things that we could look at. I know there was a gentleman at one point that said that he may look at eventually selling a piece of his land for us to put an entrance over there. I know that there is what used to be a alleyway that's over there that maybe we could turn back into an alleyway that could be used as an entrance. But putting a fence up is not feasible.
How wide is the alleyway? You know what I mean? Like, it's platted, right? Because I don't know of it.
Last I checked was that had gone over to people the next door, Kathy's property. I don't remember her last name. You know, Pam Graham?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that was just to the west of her place. And that's where Kathy lives. And so it's kind of like that whole area just went right back to whoever has
So
owned
if
the
they've been
property.
maintaining it for 20 years, that's squatters, right? Even if,
Well, we had this conversation a couple of years ago regarding some alleyways in the town that essentially have been vacated, if you will, by the town because, you know, people have built all, and they have used, and that's part of their property. And so I know when I talked to Phil, and Marion and Danny, it's been a couple of years. Like we need to call the county and see how, if you want to take that back, or if you just want to continue to let them keep it, make sure it's off your books and they'll have to pay taxes on all that stuff. But yes, they would have control over it if they've been maintaining it, whatever. Although you could argue that they've been, but it's owned by the town, so it'd be tax free. So they've been paying taxes, but arguably they would consider it theirs.
Where's the alley at that you're talking about?
Well, it used to be the roadway where they went back to the Methodist cemetery.
Yeah, that's been closed for years and years and years.
It was deeded to the property owner, but it's an easement, right? Isn't that what we found out?
I don't know if we ever found anything out. I think we talked about it and then we've never looked.
I do know the last council meeting, that gentleman that spoke, I know that the council members gave him a lot of ideas, put signs up. That's your property. I believe someone was going to send letters out or put it on the Facebook page, and send an email out to listservs to make sure people aren't walking through the property.
And she's done that.
Yeah, and certainly no one wants anybody to get hurt, but we're like, you need to empower, make sure.
If it's the same gentleman, he said, "Oh, I don't really have problems with them walking through my yard. Is that I'm afraid that they're riding their bikes, and I'm afraid that I'm going to back into them."
Yeah.
And I thought, but if they're riding on the street, you can still back into them. You just really need to be paying attention to the kids are.
He indicates that they were in his driveway.
Yeah. Ken said they were in his driveway and cut through his driveway.
I don't know why you don't probably. That's what I would do.
Well, you gotta know who their parents do
Right.
that.
I think they know them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to
Kenny,
be honest with the situation that it is a problem, potentially, and we created the problem. So I think to some degree, the town does have, the park board, and I'm including in this, has a responsibility to try to find some solutions to it and not just say fences aren't feasible and, so I think we have to look at, whatever options there are out there. And I don't think at this point we throw a fence out of the possibility, because it ultimately may come down to, that's what has to go there to be able to keep the homeowners safe and the people using the park safe. May be another solution, and we should probably try to find other solutions. But it may come down to that, and may need to start looking at grants that might give us money for a fence. But depending on where that access is from LATA, you also have to look at like water going to the path of least resistance. I think Mr. Morning's property is used because of where it's at. And so if you have an entrance that's way on the other side, up at the northern or the western end or something like that, I don't think it's going to get used. They're still going to go through his yard. So we have to admit that it's a problem. And I don't think anybody's trying to say it's not. It may not be a gigantic problem at this point, but, depending on who's living in those homes, some people may not be as agreeable as others might be to having a bunch of kids run through their yard and maybe leaving trash and, just all the things that can go along with that. So we got to come up with a solution. Like I said, maybe more than one, and maybe lots of different ways we can solve it, but we have to figure it out, I think, because.
Did we say go ahead and order the sign though? When we say go ahead and order the street sign?
I think we did. Yeah.
I think you did. Let me put that on here.
Yeah.
So we are gonna go ahead and get the signs that, especially right where his yard is, it says, "Don't cross my yard." We're asking for park patrons to not cross this yard. So that'll at least help him. And then we suggested he do some no trespassing signs and catch the kids if he can and tell them, he doesn't want them crossing there. So like, meet us in the middle, you help us, because we're not there every day. And Officer Wright was going to try to patrol the area some and catch them coming and going through there.
Did anything get posted on the town's? Okay.
We have, and I feel like that has helped because
I have not seen him, Kenneth Morning, so I feel like it must be helping because he has not been in my office since. And he was coming in pretty regular.
When you order those signs, maybe just give him a phone call and let him know that they've been ordered and check in with him and see how it's going.
Does anyone have his number?
I have it, but I don't have it with me.
Okay, text it to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you need someone?
Yes, the homeowner out here would like an explanation and some information about the sidewalk they put in today, and didn't tell them, and cut through his driveway.
Okay, well, we're in a meeting right now,
Okay,
so.
yeah, who would we talk to? Are we-
If you would like to come in tomorrow, I can talk to you. I'll be here at 8 a.m. Okay.
Okay, all
Yep.
right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Should have been here at the start of the meeting, should have had that 3 minutes.
We're gonna get separated.
I think the festival board has something else they.
No, Wrestle in the Streets is June 6th. You know, where they set it up and right in front of our festival building, the mat, Cascade comes and wrestles ours.
I haven't
That's
ever
June
seen that
6th.
before.
They only did it one time last year, right?
The crackdown on the street is June the 6th, guys. Smack down on the street.
Crackdown.
If you guys
That's
didn't
a
make it
completely
last
different
year,
thing,
that
isn't it?
was fun.
Sorry.
I was there.
She should have said that from police, right?
I thought it was fun.
One thing I was thinking when you were talking about the park board is volunteering for the kid free zone. What if
It's the kid
we
zone.
bought t-shirt or the kid free zone?
No, it's the kid zone.
I second the kid free
Kids
zone.
free zone is the bar. and we're
How
not
do they
working
call
there.
that psychologically? I'll be in the kid free zone. What if we bought you guys t-shirts that says, like, Monrovia Parks Department or something like that to wear while you're volunteering?
Well, we have T-shirts that we made last year that we sold. So we all have T-shirts that has the logo, the town logo on it.
Well, I was just gonna offer to, that's something that we would like to try to get for anybody that's out representing the town. I mean, Officer Wright, he's got his uniform, but like when Mary Ann's out, that kind of stuff. So if you guys would be interested in like a
If you'd like
polo
to,
or-
if you'd like to get us shirts that says Park Board, we would love that.
Okay.
I actually, Penn's contacted me today and he sent me a link for polos. I asked him about polos.
Okay.
For staff is what I was thinking.
Yeah,
really.
we'll get you t-shirts and they'll probably be in like 40 that day or something. But I'm just saying if that would be something that, if you guys are representing the parks board, we can put that on a t-shirt and donate. You got that?
I would have to get sizes.
Okay. I'll get sizes for you and get them sent to you.
You want volunteer on the back or just like the logo?
Just the logo, I think.
Logo and
I think. everybody knows
you can
we're-
let me know.
I think everybody knows we're volunteers.
That sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Were you gonna mention about signing up for the pavilion?
I think this is yours, Mary Ann. So it was brought to our attention at the park board at the meeting that some people would like to use our beautiful shelter house for parties, but they hate to schedule a party and then get there and someone's already using it because we don't have any official way to reserve the shelter house. In order to be able to do reservations for the shelter house, it would have to be something officially set up through maybe you or Callie or Ricky to do that. So it would be something that you guys would have to take on. How would you
And
feel
we would
about
have
that?
to post maybe a monthly schedule at the shelter house on this day, these people, this family.
Can I interject? to check with like Mooresville, because I know you can.
I have, that's where I'm
And
getting
make
this
sure,
from.
because I'm sure they use an online service.
Because I'm sure you're
We don't
having
need
the
to
same
reinvent the
question,
wheel all
right?
the
You're
time,
having the
like-
same question?
Where's those town clerk?
That's what I'm saying, let's find out how they go about it, and what insurance we'll need.
Well, so Mooresville actually has a department, a park department.
They have a what?
They have a park department, so their park department is handling all that.
Huge budget, so.
But they still have like a board, because I know a couple of people on it.
Yeah, but the reserving that, all that stuff, there's a park department that will be doing that.
Now, their shelter houses or such has well, a picture window thing, or a window thing, that where you can lock it, and they put the
Reserved on it.
reserve. And so, I don't know, the only time I've seen them is, for the day of the event, but
What is Homestead do?
HOA handles it.
Yeah, HOA.
How do they do it though? Do you know the process?
There's a website that we're all attached to, and they do it
And then
through it.
reserve it.
It may not be something we can do to tell people we would have this year, but she's building relationships with Plainfield, Mooresville, other communities, and we can put it on AIM and just see how people do it, and check back with you at your next update.
Okay.
Let you know what we find out, or obviously you two can talk. but
Okay. All right, thank
It's a
you.
good idea for sure. I don't think we have anything from the redevelopment commission, from the public works. I don't think we've had any.
Public Works, they're starting milling on some of the streets. Triple Drive, I saw today. So
That's not us, though. That's
That's the community crossing
Yeah.
paving project.
I guess it is technically.
But still, it's part of
Right.
Public
Does anybody
Works.
know if they ever fixed that manhole?
I do not know. I know the last time I asked you, you said they had not, but I can't lift I can't lift it. So,
Never seen nobody over
What'd you say, Marion? You can't what?
I can't lift the cover off to check it.
Yeah,
I know you do.
Where's,
I can teach you how real quick.
where's that manhole cover at?
It's at the corner of 39 and 42.
Right.
Oh.
We spoke with NDOT a few weeks back about it,
Yeah, they're supposed to come fix it. I've heard
and I
some
can get
trouble.
with him.
You follow up on that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I so did.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Let me turn the cameras off.
I'm roasting up here. I gotta take.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta find mine. Oh, no.
Okay.
I forgot one. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Hi, Jared.
Okay.